Right up.
Yeah, lots of birds in the background.
We are sponsored by Kereru, the bird.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's more authentic that way. You don't have to edit it in post.
Oh, yeah, that's what we normally do, yeah.
Everything's edited in post. Well, welcome to episode 2 of the VMorg Bedroom interview series. We're here with Arjuna Oakes, the talented musician behind self-titled band Arjuna Oakes, as well as the keyboardist behind Shambles. I'm Ben, this is Betty. Here we go again. So Arjuna, welcome to the Bedroom Series.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. What do you do?
I'm a musician. I play and write music. Primarily a keyboard player, pianist. I've been playing piano for 13 years.
Shit.
But also a singer and a songwriter and just a general creative person.
Nice.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about how you got into music. What made you a pianist in those early days 13 years ago?
Oh, yeah, good question.
What got you in there?
Oh, man. Well, I always loved music. Ever since I was a kid. I think there was, I don't know, something special about music. It was always playing in the house. My parents both play guitar.
Oh.
My grandparents taught me a lot of music, and they liked a lot of like 60s, stuff they kind of grew up with in their youth. And so I was singing from a really young age, and then my parents were like, "Do you want to learn an instrument?"
The keyboard was on your pitch?
Yeah, well, because everyone else played guitar, and I was like, no,
Sure.
fuck that, I want to play something that nobody else plays.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, and now I'm just trying to be Elton John, pretty much.
No, fair enough. That is big inspiration from
No, I'm
New Zealand.
joking. I used to love Elton John, but not so much anymore.
No? So where are you from then? Sort of where would home be, where you, your family, your grandparents all come from? Is it quite close?
Yeah, kind of. I grew up in Titirangi, which is West Auckland.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, it's kind of in the bush.
Yeah.
Kind of near, on the way towards like Pia and Karikari, those kind of West Coast beaches. It's a beautiful spot to grow up as a kid, and yeah, lots of nature. And Titirangi is a very creative little village. It's when I was there, especially when I was growing up there was heaps of artists, painters, potters, like loads of musicians. Yeah, no, it was really cool. And then I moved down to Wellington last three months ago.
Sure. And before that, were you still at home or?
No, I moved out of home, but I was still living in Auckland. So I was living like in the centre of Auckland, because Titirangi's maybe like 40 minutes out. So I kind of wanted to be right in the centre, but I miss it sometimes.
Have you found moving to Wellington just recently as sort of changing the way you're expressing yourself creatively as a different city compared to that sound in Auckland and stuff?
Yeah, for sure. I think we take it for granted, the environment that we kind of surround ourselves in and how that stimulates us creatively. And I knew that I needed a change, not just creatively, but also just for my life, I wanted to experience a different place. And I've always wanted to live here, I used to come here heaps when I was a kid to visit family, and I was always like, this is a sick place, so I'm so glad.
I love it.
Yeah, it's a great city.
Did you find Auckland supportive of the music you're trying to do versus Wellington? Like, would you say that Wellington's a more creative support hub than Auckland, or is Auckland, there's tons of people, everyone's going out to things, or?
Auckland's cool. There's a good scene up in Auckland, but it's different. I mean, if you look at it primarily from just a city point of view, Auckland's a real business city, and so many people live there because that's where all the jobs are. And they don't necessarily want to live there. It's not really a lifestyle city. It's more like a necessity city.
Sure.
Necessity.
Damn.
Classic. So it's like, and I think that reflects the music industry there too. Like, obviously that's where kind of the labels are based, and where like all the corporate music, and you see a lot of bands from like Dunedin and some from Wellington who do maybe like Drax Project, who do well down here and cultivate their fan base, and then when they want to release like more mainstream and more kind of not just New Zealand music, like worldwide music, they kind of go up to Auckland to do that, which makes a lot of sense. But I find Wellington, the creative scene's a lot more tight here. There's a lot more I think it's just mainly geographically, because
so much smaller.
Yeah, exactly. Because in Auckland, it's if you don't have a car or if you're trying to booze up, it's very hard to get to a gig.
Yeah. And it was bloody expensive.
Yeah, it is. So I think that's why it's, and fucking love the scene down here. Lots more gigs, like a gig every night of the week. And it's just
Too much.
And people really make an effort to get out there and
Yeah.
see things, even things that they're not like in Auckland. I did a few gigs for my solo stuff, and unless it was like a public, I've done a lot of like park gigs and festivals and things. But if it's for your own stuff, it was harder to kind of get out to people you didn't really know. So
Sure.
I feel like here it's a lot easier it's a lot more of a direct scene.
Yeah, I've always found, or personally from what I've seen from Auckland and Wellington, I'd say Wellington's more collaborative, but Auckland's more competitive. So everyone's sort of like competing for the space that they're in Auckland, whereas Wellington, everyone's sort of like, yo, let's do something together.
Yeah, which is nice. And I think it's just like the music that's primarily being played, like up in Auckland, again, saying like it's a kind of business city, it's a lot more corporate gigs, a lot more like...
More of a commercialised sound as well.
Yeah, well, a lot of the dudes I went through jazz school with, they all, their bread and butter is corporate gigs. It's like weddings, but also like a lot of,
like office parties and that sort of thing.
things like that.
Sure. Have you ever played in a suit?
Yes.
Have you?
Oh yeah.
Damn.
All the time. Well, for those corporate gigs,
you gotta be. So you've done it too.
Yeah, I've done it, of course, and it's good money, and it's it's fun. Like,
I mean,
it's
it is bread and butter.
Yeah. It's not like creating and not like playing your own music, but it's still better than like a job you don't like. It's music, so fuck yeah. But
is that sort of along the lines of being a session musician?
yes, I suppose. I mean, session musician is more to do with like recording, and with artists who are established and don't have their own band, and so you kind of go in there and do the parts quickly and efficiently, and that's kind of session musician.
Sure.
Yeah.
So obviously going from a member of Shambles and then branching out on your own, sort of how has that role changed? Like, what was your role in Shambles with producing and like writing music versus doing it all on your own?
Well, I've been writing and performing my own music for years.
Yeah.
So I suppose the only difference now is that I'm actually properly releasing music.
Yeah.
And
it's a beautiful song.
Oh, cheers! Thank you so much. Yeah, that one was a long time coming. I wrote that like 3 years ago.
Wow.
And it took a while to get out there. But so I mean, with the Shambles, it was primarily run by Max, the lead singer.
Yeah.
But we all had a lot of input, and I kind of took care of quite a bit of the like kind of chord progressions and things, and so the guitarist, and then we all just contributed different things. But it was it was kind of like the difference is now I'm primarily writing songs and I have to direct it.
Yeah.
And I took a lot of cues off of Max. He's a really great leader in that respect.
Man.
And it's a totally different thing, but it's not unfamiliar to me. I think what is unfamiliar is getting my face out there and like
you do it well.
As a brand.
And your name as well, I suppose.
Yeah.
Well, it's entirely your brand is your name. Like, you haven't separated Arjuna Oakes from Arjuna Oakes. It is self-titled.
Yeah, well, I thought I had an interesting name, so
I think use it. Yeah, 100%. It works.
Yeah.
Sounds a lot better than Ethan Murray as Ethan Murray. No, that's like, how do you find actually doing that then on your own when you don't have to rely on other members to come to, say, a practice and it's not set out each week? Like, how do you treat that? Do you like give yourself times each day or each week where you have to be doing it, or is it more just like a personal thing when you feel like those like processes are happening? Do you just go for it, or
do you mean like being like
as actually producing, like, and being creative when you sort of don't have other people that you have to work around time scheduling wise?
Do
you find that makes you more productive or less productive, or
it means you have to be a lot more self-motivated. It's hard. I try and strike a balance, because on one hand I do write a list every day, and I have lots of things to do. Most of it is more admin stuff, but then I'll sometimes put like, I need to finish the song, or I need to write this lyric, or I need to do something. But if I do that too much, it does kind of take away from the creative process somehow.
Yeah.
Like,
you never feel creativity.
It's kind of more methodical, but I mean, there is a good thing to that, because if you were always like, just gonna wait until it comes to me, I'm just gonna sit here and wait until I'm inspired, like, that shit doesn't work either.
Yeah.
So you got to get a middle ground, Like, I've had a lot of people say to me, have techniques for songwriting, and you can kind of put this onto being motivated or anything really. about starting off quite methodical so that you get out of your own kind of head, so you're like pushing yourself in a direction you haven't been before.
Yeah.
And then once you've kind of gone onto that train, then you let go to intuition, which I find really works. So like say I'll like get something that I want to push myself in, like be like, I want to be a bit, I want to use a weird chord progression today, and so just kind of push myself in that direction methodically, and then once I've kind of got that a little bit, then I'll be like, let myself go and just be creative and be intuitive. Because the problem with just being intuitive off the bat is that you might just kind of cover the same ground, like sound the same and stuff you've already done, so to try and push yourself in different directions, it's good to try different techniques.
Yeah, cool. Do you find yourself listening to certain music styles and then trying to replicate that? Because I know a lot of like musicians, like, I can't listen to this like kind of music, then I'll just try to recreate it.
No, I never write. I never write like that. I never like set out to make a house song or set out to make a song like a certain genre or like a band, because I find that it just sounds like that band. I generally try and.
For how many people do you know making a Mac DeMarco song?
Yeah. I generally just try and write from what I'm feeling, and then, like I said, methodically, but more to do with like a technique rather than a sound, rather than being like, I want to write a rock song, just being like, I want to subvert a certain like convention, and then that kind of leads on to more creative music rather than being like, I want to create a certain type of genre.
Sure. You don't walk into it thinking, I want to make a ballad that everyone's going to sing right now. That's up to the public. They figure that out.
Yeah. Well, some people do, and that's all good. Like there's the whole pop songwriter thing, and of course they have a whole map that they're following, and they go into it, and they're like, we're gonna write a fucking banger today.
Sure.
That's all good. But sometimes if you do that too much, it just becomes like the music becomes stale, and too obvious, and there's nothing really original about it.
Yeah.
Would you say, like, when you're writing music, it is like, do you draw from your own personal experience, or is it like observational, or like a range? Like, how would you say you're inspired by what you've gone through and what you see around you? Like, how much of that feeds into what you're writing, or do you just write music? Like, well, not just write music. That's a terrible way to put it. Would you come up with something you really like and then put lyrics to it, or are you thinking about like lyrics and then there's a melody for that?
Yeah. Different, kind of all of those things.
Okay, I'm we're interested to see how people actually sort of channel those creative processes into a song.
For sure.
There's so many different aspects to it.
Yeah, it's really difficult, and it's more difficult if you kind of think about it too much.
Yeah.
Because like talking about it like that, it's like, oh shit, there's so much to it,
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, the way I find is usually I'll start with music first, because me personally, it's my kind of belief that the music should kind of speak for itself in terms of like feeling and even kind of and then the words are just clarifying the meaning, so because otherwise it's just poetry, because the music really has to tell you what the song's about, so I start with the music, and I'll start with usually a chord progression, and then I'll just sing random bullshit. Like, I'll sing just random lyrics, like, I don't know what I'll be singing, but there'll be a melody there, and there'll be like kind of a flow, and I'll kind of latch onto that, and then I will usually have a few key words, and then kind of will craft something from that. And then often, most of my stuff, I come up with the meaning later, so I'll write it, and then I'll be like, that's cool. And then I'll kind of think about it a bit, and it's like, actually, that's written because I was going through this at that time, or I was, and it makes more sense later. And sometimes that's a good thing, because you're not forcing it too much. It's just
you're not rationalizing it as you go. You're just sort of being real, and then sort of realizing it later.
Yeah, and then also sometimes it's like, write a line and that's random, and then you figure out actually that's what it's about, and then you write the rest of the song through that. Like, I wrote a song called The Watcher, and I just wrote like some lyrics about the watcher in the dark, or something about preying on the weak and the powerless, and I was like, it's like, sounds political, but I have no fucking clue what this is about. It's just really bullshit, right? And then I was like, actually, it could be about mass surveillance, and about like political issues surrounding that, and how that affects like people's personal lives, rather than just a big kind of political spectrum that we're looking at it by. And so, yeah, I don't know. I find meaning kind of halfway through sometimes, and it's quite fun. Yeah.
You're just a really good freestyler.
Yeah. Well, that's what I've learned from playing jazz is improvising, and
Sure.
it's so pure, and you make so many fuck ups, but that's all good.
Who notices?
Yeah, and it's not about that. It's about trying to find something new.
Yeah, that I think is one of the real addicting things about a creative process is sort of discovering things about yourself when you're trying to discover other things.
Yeah.
No one
that's
sets
really
out
cool.
to figure out what they figure out.
Yeah, it's that age-old bullshit of being the journey, but I hate when people say it, but like sometimes there's like little tidbits along the way that you're like, actually, yeah, damn.
Yeah, for sure. I used to find when I wasn't such a great pianist, I would make a lot of, and I still do make a lot of mistakes, but a lot of those mistakes would lead me to ideas that were cooler. So I'd like play something wrong, and then I'd be like, actually, that sounds neat. And then
When your finger accidentally slips and it's a bit higher than you'd planned, you're like, oh.
Yeah. And so I'm kind of like regretting doing so much piano practice now because I'm so much better and I don't make so many mistakes and I don't come up with weird.
Time to pick up another instrument.
Yeah.
Do you play any other instrument?
I play ukulele.
Oh, nice.
I've been meaning to learn guitar for years, and I've kind of learned a little bit, but I don't know. I just figured it was kind of better to be like really good at like one or two instruments rather than be an all-rounder.
Jack of all trades.
Yeah. Have you found yourself in, so since you've been doing music for 13 years, like as you got into sort of your older age, do you surround yourself more with musicians? Or like,
I'm back!
terrible way to put it. So, not as a child. At the age you are now, like obviously like once you leave home, you're flat and you surround yourself with people that you choose. So I mean, like, have you found yourself more drawn to musicians to live with, which means like when you go to do a jam session, they're just your flatmate, you know? Is that sort of something that you've had in the last few years?
A little bit, yeah. I haven't really lived with that many musicians. I do now. I live with Rosie from Kereru. Yeah. And our rooms are right next to each other.
Yeah.
So often most of our jams will actually be through the walls. Like, play something and she'll sing something from her room. And
That's fantastic. That also means that your walls are thin.
Yeah.
Positives and negatives, eh?
Yeah, but that's all good because we're like downstairs, so we're secluded. But
Oh, man.
yeah. I think I mean. It's nice, coming out of like high school where you're with the same people all the time, and in uni is very similar. You don't really get to choose who you hang out with. It's kind of
it's the people that you're with an hour a day each day.
Yeah, and I think getting out of that and choosing. Yeah, I am drawn to a lot of musicians, but the last couple of years I've met so many people through the Shambles.
True.
And a lot of them are more at Max's age, a bit older, more like mid to late 20s.
Sure.
And I think, I don't know, I've just been drawn to like people who are a bit more mature and musos as well, but a lot of creative people and people of all, backgrounds.
Well, there's a lot more to it than just the band that plays, There's going to be the person who loves taking photos, someone who loves doing design that does your tour.
There's so much stuff.
There's so much stuff behind it.
Yeah. And it's awesome to really encourage people to fill those roles and to create a community, of artists, not just musicians.
Yeah.
Because in the future, if somebody becomes successful, then they will, lift everyone else up, be like, do my artwork or do a photo shoot, and everyone benefits from that. And so the more we can, like, really encourage each other and help each other, the better.
Yeah. What is the wildest night you've ever had?
The wildest night?
Yeah.
Last night was pretty big.
Yeah? Damn.
So you said nothing
You're
music
hiding
related,
it well.
you just bring it back to say that you gig.
Yeah. No, it was after, but that's music related as well, because we had a jam with the Marco Road dudes.
Oh, mate.
Yeah.
Oh.
And, like,
Lovely people.
lovely dudes. No, it was it was pretty wild.
So,
Wildest night. Yeah.
because you guys did you did the R&B circuit for a couple of years, didn't you?
We did 2 of those. They were pretty wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just last New Year's when I was up on stage for your grand finale.
yeah. That was amazing, man. Yeah, no, R&B is pretty wild, but R&B's weird because there's just so many like 18-year-olds.
Oh yeah, it's very cool.
It's just very basic, not to be mean, but oh man, yeah, I've had some. We did the Shambles did a gig in where was it? Gisborne, but not Gizzy, but not for R&B. It was like kind of October last year.
Oh, true.
This like wine
Sun's out
festival.
anyway.
Yeah, and they were giving us like free wine from this wine festival we just got, and champagne and like heaps of stuff, and we got trashed. Yeah, and we like went
before playing or after playing?
After.
Oh, okay, sweet.
Yeah. Because it was a long gig, like we played for like 4 hours or something.
Oh shit!
And so I think after.
All original, or did you have
we did a few because it was like a daytime thing. So and we like I think it was 2 bands, so it was like we had to play for quite a while.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I think after we were just so tired and like we were just like fuck, let's get smashed. You know? We went hard. It was great. It was really funny.
Sure.
I've had some good times. I've had like times where we were in the Mount once playing a gig.
Yeah.
And I don't remember most of the night, because I was at one point and then I don't remember. I woke up like literally on the other side of town, like
in a house,
20
on a couch, in a bed. Like,
yeah. But everyone around
Damn.
me, like like all the dudes, but I was not there when I remembered last. So I was like, oh man, either they all carried me in here or something, or like.
Music and alcohol goes hand in hand, eh? Like, how many times have you been paid just in alcohol quite a few times, or you're quite a, you get paid?
I'm a little bit of a fussy bugger, eh? I try not to do too many free gigs.
Sure.
Not so much for my own, I mean, obviously there's a financial element, but it's also because, I mean, if you're helping out a mate and stuff, that's
entirely
absolutely fine. And like, if you're doing it for a fundraiser or there's really good experience, that's all good. But like, if you say you're going to do a really cheap gig to somebody, then that person, if they hire lots of musicians, then all the other people that they hire, they're going to expect the same,
True. You'll see your own value, really.
Yeah, so you're kind of letting down your mates a little bit because you're kind of saying that they're cheap as well in some ways. So you do have to look out for your community.
Yeah. Well, that was a big thing in Nelson last year, I think. They had some community event where, like 10 years ago, the artists got paid well. And now they're sort of like, oh, hey, do you just want to come and do it? And everyone's like, well, I guess so. But
if you're in high school and you're like need experience, like I can agree with that. But yeah, I mean, I measure it like out of 3 like axis, like out of how are you getting paid, experience and fun. Right?
Yeah, true.
And so if you've got 2 of those 3, then do the gig. If it's fun and it's great, like experience and exposure, like you might get another gig out of it, or you might further yourself. Fucking go for it. If it's fun and it pays well, But if it just pays well and it's not fun and it's not good exposure,
True.
I mean, do you really want to do it? Like, is it?
That's a real good way to look at it.
Yeah. It's just
Because I think about that quite a bit in just in New Zealand music is you don't want to play in the same city too often. Like I know the venue sizes now that if you sold out a show once a month, like musicians really couldn't live on that as well if there's like a full 4 or 5 piece band.
No.
So yeah, like trying to break it in New Zealand is quite hard. So if you are working with that fun exposure financial idea, it'd be a really cool way to look at it, especially like just through trying to make a living as a musician.
Yeah, for sure. I think, I mean, in New Zealand, you really, as a musician, if you want to do it full time, you really have to be, you can't just do one thing. You have to, you have to be really open to a lot of things and good at a lot of things. For me, I teach piano and teach music, and do my own gigs and do work for other people, recording and writing and gigging, and then corporate gigs and lots of different things within music. So I'm lucky that I'm able to do everything in music, but it's still not just like I'm not just an artist who plays my own music and releases it. I'm not going to get to that point for another few years.
So that is the goal, is you would love to be a full-time musician?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I am, like, essentially, but, like, it'd be really nice to have to be able to really...
To not worry.
Yeah, to not worry and be able to basically just focus on my own stuff,
Yeah.
Although I do really love teaching. Teaching's a great experience, and it really puts you in contact with your community, which I love. So I think in an ideal world, it would be, like, an artist who creates enough money from, like, streaming and stuff to be able to support myself and be able to, write and record and release, and then also and gig and tour
That'll
around the world.
be good times.
Yeah, and then also just like having students who are like want to be proper musos and who are like can you teach there's a lot of like jazz dudes that do that who are famous jazz like musicians, but then also have students on the side who are like dedicated, and it's nice to have that, I think.
True, but you also bring a lot more to the table than just a keyboard and instruction. Like someone can ask you, oh hey, like how did you promote yourself in another city? So that's another thing, is you may just be a keyboard teacher, but if there is someone trying to take keyboard seriously in a band or this or the other, like you've got so much more knowledge to you than just your ability to play.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot around the subject of music that's really important, and performance being one of them. Like performing and playing are kind of different things.
Entirely.
And yeah, exactly. It's kind of an art onto itself, and then songwriting another thing, producing, composing, everything.
Even down to marketing.
Yeah, marketing. Yeah, that's the big one. That's what I've been struggling with lately. Yeah, because so much, it took so long to get the release out, and I was emailing heaps of magazines and radio stations and things, and it takes a long time to get all that done.
Well, the hardest thing is not having a name yet.
Yeah.
Because like when you approach someone, you already have a name. They're like, I already know who you are. We can work together. But like, when you're just starting out, like you were already yourself. You're already Arjuna, but now you're Arjuna Oakes, the musician, and like people may not have heard that name before.
No, exactly. It's really, really hard when you don't have an established name. Like, I didn't hear that from most of those places I emailed.
Sure.
The only way I got onto RNZ was I have a friend who works for the NZ Music Commission, so it's like,
That's New Zealand, bro.
Yeah.
It's who you know.
It's who you know.
Everything is
exactly.
a mutual friend plus one.
Yeah, I know. So just gonna make more friends.
With you promoting your new name as a solo artist, are you trying to like really separate yourself from Shambles, or do you try and use that as a little bit like to drum up a bit of interest? Like, I was in. I'm
in the Shambles.
Do you, or like, are you trying to actually no? This is different. This is new. Like, are you trying to move on from that, or are you still trying to use that as like a bit of a ace up your sleeve when you're trying to market, or?
I'd be stupid not to use it
because
there's already a lot. Lots
a
of
huge
people,
buzz.
Yeah, lots of people love the Shambles, and I'm grateful for how much love we received. And I'm not embarrassed by it or anything.
No.
I'd be like,
did you use that in your
Shambles.
approach?
A tiny. I think I mentioned it in my bio, like
to.
toured with the Shambles or something like that. But a little bit, yeah, because in recent times, a lot of people who know me through the Shambles. But I think, I do feel like I don't really try and explain it. I just let people realize that it's not like the Shambles. The stuff that I do is there are elements of it musically, but it's a very different approach. It's less of a party band and more of like a improvised kind of very personal experience that happens to be quite full on, so that people can really get into it. Like it's not we're improvising and we're like having a lot of fun on stage and like really but then people in the audience are also going wild because of that experience. With where the Shambles was more of a direct party band, which is great, but
I loved it.
quite different to what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, sure.
No, I didn't mean that as like a negative thing.
It's not. No, it's cool, man. No, the Shambles were fucking sick. Yeah. And I've learned so much from being in that band. So much. Just about showmanship and about how to relate to an audience and musically and
Well, that was the best thing about the Shambles, in my opinion, was the showmanship. It was an experience to see it live. There was so much energy and movement across the stage.
Exactly.
I loved it.
Yeah. And I think it was that community, even though there was a frontman like Max's and captivating, charismatic frontman, but the whole band brings a lot, because if it was just a really captivating frontman and then everyone else was really bored, it's just
you can't have that.
It just lets them down, and like.
How have you found going from like
sideman to frontman?
How has that transition been? Like, have you had to like sort of build on your performing skills a lot? Have you found the way you perform is different? Or do you think you were always kind of like had it there and you've just sort of like fitted into the role, like it's been sort of a natural progression?
Yeah, I try. Yeah, a little bit. I mean,
very different styles of music as well. Because obviously, as you're saying, like Shambles was this sort of party coming to you.
Yeah.
Your music's very like beautiful. It's soulful and it's a bit more.
And we do go wild. Like we don't just we hammer that shit. But it's a lot more like of a creative kind of going wild than a more like a let's get down and boogie, you know. Like, but it's still funky and still want to get the audience involved. But yeah, I mean it's, I don't treat it too differently. I suppose the main difference is I'm singing the whole time when I'm doing it by myself, and I'm not, you know. And so when you're singing, it's much easier to command an audience and to command a band because you're the primary.
You're the composer.
Yeah, you're the forefront of that music. But yeah, I mean, with the Shambles, I suppose it was a little bit more like trying to watch what Max is doing and kind of support him.
Well, you would feed off his energy.
Yeah,
now the band has to feed off you.
Yeah, exactly. So I suppose it's like, it's just giving more when I'm playing.
Yeah.
As the front man, you know. And I do a lot of crack up things, like, I mean, I pull a lot of strange faces, like I'm constipated, and you know, and I like go wild, and I like, you know, and I like,
good stank face.
Yeah, stank
you can't
face,
control that though. You're just busy in the moment.
Yeah, and I like, you know, go around and shout like, yeah, you know, when things are mean, like, you know, when the drums go hard, you know, shit like that. But I mean, that just adds to the atmosphere and adds to the you know, how well everyone's like really fucking.
Do you feel more like drained after a performance as the frontman?
Yeah.
Do you feel like pulls on you a bit more?
Yes, yeah, it does, and also because you've got all that attention primarily on you, you know. But yeah, at the same time, I try and keep it more about, even though it's me as a solo artist, I try and really make it about the band as well, because I play with some killer musicians.
Yeah.
And collaboration is key. It's really key.
That's what I really loved about your performance with Corduroy was you didn't actually have a guitarist, did you?
No.
You had bass, trumpet, and drums.
Bass, trumpet, drums, keys, and me. Yeah.
And you just nailed it. You led the charge.
Oh, cheers! Yeah.
So it was a very different band makeup to your traditional guitar, bass, drummers, additional guitar.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, it's I think it's just the style of music that lends itself to a smaller setup because we want to be more creative and we want to. I do a lot with the keys, you know. I fill a lot of gaps and I do a lot of fills and things. And so if I had another guitar or a guitarist there or somebody else to do that,
you'd be clashing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think I will get a guitarist at some point, but not so much as a rhythm guitar, more as that atmospheric, kind of like a soundscape building. And so, I just find, if you look at it in terms of drums control rhythm, bass controls rhythm and root notes, and then keys control harmony, and then trumpet controls like other lines, another kind of voice almost.
Yeah.
And because if we had another guitar, it'd be like two harmony instruments and we'd clash and be very hard. It just gives me more freedom. That's all it is.
Yeah, true.
And I love Jimi Hendrix, so it's just like 3-piece or a 4-piece, just like really have lots of space to just do what you want.
Yeah, it also means when you show up to a smaller venue.
Yeah.
You got more freedom.
Yeah, exactly.
So how much like improv would you do while you're playing? Like when in a set? If it gives you more freedom, do you like take that and run with it? Like are you improvising?
Yeah.
Like in parts of songs?
Well, generally like we'll have the song and we'll play like the song.
Yeah.
And then we'll just solo really. Kind of like a jazz thing, but I try and keep in mind the audience that I have, because it's not really a jazz audience. They're not just there watching, they're kind of enjoying. So you kind of, the way you solo is different. It's less about technical ability and more about like really giving yourself to the music, because then they'll give themselves to the event. And, so we improvise over the chord progressions and really try and like just have fun and feed off each other. If I do a rhythm that starts to catch on, the drums might come into that, and then the trumpet harmonizes on that, and we build something. It's a fucking mean thing to like be in the audience and experience. These dudes are making it up. These dudes are creating this right now. That's different to like having a band that's so orchestrated. Like that's great too. But yeah.
Well,
that's what. Well,
I was just saying it's a performance instead of just playing off the live set.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bands that will get up and play to the recorded sound. There's a lot of bands that would do the improv then perform it. They wouldn't like. I've seen a lot of musicians that would. I think they sort of switch off to the live event and they just play to what they remember because they're quite nervous.
Yeah.
But then like if your guitar's like a little bit out of time, then that means that the person who's just playing to their drum beat they're like, it doesn't sort of merge.
No.
Whereas if you're all in the moment together, it's a lot different, and it's a performance, and you can see that from the crowd.
Exactly.
Is that where you were going with it?
Yeah, I was gonna like say that that's what makes a live event special, is actually going there and getting what you can't listen to at home.
Yeah.
Like another thing that's also like, that's going on a complete tangent, but that's like another reason why I like when a band will play like a weird version of a cover or something, because it's not what you're expecting.
No.
Like if you're expecting their set and you're expecting how it's recorded, if you get it different, that's actually what I feel makes you talk about them more after the set.
Yeah.
And that's how so that's why I think like making a live performance different to what people expect is actually the best way to get people.
If people wanted to hear exactly what it sounded like, they'd just go home and listen to the record.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a live experience.
There's that atmosphere, and then playing to that atmosphere as well.
Yeah, and subverting expectations, you know, subverting what people would think you'll do, and surprising them, that always like helps, you know. And I think a lot of young musos kind of play it safe in that respect, you know, like, oh, do it exactly how it is, because people are expecting us to play it like this.
Yeah.
Just take chances and don't underestimate your audience. A lot of people are like, we need to whittle it down because people won't be able to think about it that hard or won't be able to latch onto it. But I think you gotta think that your audience is really smart and just expect them to be smart. And if they're not, well, maybe they'll get, you know, well, not smart, but you know, like enjoy the thrill of the unexpected, you know.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people do, you know. And if we give people the chance to, they will more and more.
Yeah. Talking about the cover and the unexpected thing, I think we spoke about that when I came home from Corduroy's gig, and I was like, yeah, they played this song. And they're like, yeah, that's cool. Like, you go to a gig, if you came home and said they played their songs, like, yeah, okay.
Of course they did.
Yeah, exactly. Of course they did.
Yeah.
But then, like, yeah, if you play a cover, it's unexpected.
You're more likely to talk about something that you didn't expect.
Yeah.
Because it's like, that's what's different about it. Yeah.
True, yeah. Yeah, well, I've done a lot of cover gigs in the past, so I know a lot of covers.
Well, I also know like a lot of bands are against covers. Which I that's just total personal thing.
I think when you like, I do get a bit disappointed if I go see a band that's got original music and they just play all covers, or they play a lot of covers. Or they play like quite a lot of covers, or like covers that are well known, you know. I really enjoy
typical cover songs.
Yeah, like Wonderwall or like. You know.
I've never seen Wonderwall. Oh,
you played it. Yeah, bro. Did you give into the heckle?
Oh no, like we were having.
It was a heckle.
We were having issues with the PA, and then someone yelled at us. Let's do it. So we just did like maybe 30-40 seconds of it, and then when the PA came back, and we just moved on with it. But that was also like that was
their first gig.
That gig was actually just all covers. Like we didn't have any original music.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I mean, it was fine. Like it was fine in that regard. Like you say, it was Mac DeMarco cover band.
Yeah.
Real vanilla.
Yeah.
But it's all good.
I love it.
Sick. Classic. Yeah, when I play covers at original gigs, I usually try and pick more unusual covers.
It's that unexpected aspect to it.
Because I really like that. Because a lot of my favourite songs, sometimes I'll hear somebody else play them, like a cover of it, and then go back and listen to the original.
Yeah, like I also like when I'm in a live performance and I hear the melody of the song, like, I know this song. What is this song? It sounds different. What is it? I love that, and then that discovery when like the lyrics come in, or like like, and then oh, it's this, and then I feel like it also gets you more involved in it when you know what is coming as well.
If you don't know any music,
like if you know their original music, that works as well.
Yeah.
But for people who don't know you and are experiencing you for the first time, I think playing a cover can like loosen them up and actually get them involved, and then they're more likely to sort of get engaged with stuff they don't know.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's really fucking that's true, man. Yeah.
The key one I want to bring up is Albion Place. They do. It's like, I think it's while someone's tuning their guitar for the next song, but they'll play this little cover, and it's the Andre 3000 verse from Grey Matter, Frank Ocean's song.
Oh, yeah.
And I've been in the crowd, like, I think it was the first time I'd seen them, never knew any of their music, and I just remember hearing it, and like, your brain kicks in, and you're like, I can sing these lyrics, but I don't know what they're playing, and like, I was just sort of like mumbling along, I was like, muscle memory kicked in. Yeah. And then like Joss, she's like, do you know this song? And I'm like, well, yeah, I don't know what it is. And it took me until after the gig to figure out that it was actually like, the Andre 3000 verse. But I thought that was an amazing, very different style. Wasn't expecting that sound.
Yeah.
But I don't know how many other people in the crowd realised what they were playing, but I certainly did. And I remember that being like, I need to figure this out. And I was walking home trying to figure out what those lyrics came from because it was muscle memory. It just kicked in.
Yeah.
It was just like this improv sort of like rap verse. It was me.
Yeah, and that's also your takeaway from the gig.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You enjoyed all the music. You like, but that's the takeaway.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of different though with these bands who are not like, I mean, they're well known in New Zealand, but they're not like mega famous or anything. When you go do a big gig or like a more established artist who is a more established like songwriter, I suppose you do take away like their songs more because you've heard them so much or you're a huge fan and you're like, so it is different, I suppose, with these slightly smaller bands with the covers. Yeah, I try and play like unusual covers. Or like, one of the covers I play is Almost Lost Detroit by Gil Scott-Heron. He was a guy in the 70s and I only discovered him like a couple months ago, but he has kind of been forgotten a bit. But he did that song, The Revolution Will Not Be Televised, The Revolution Will Be Live. You know that song? Yeah. And he was like an activist musician in the 70s, like Motown, like activism, what's going on, Marvin Gaye kind of shit, but like dirtier, like, and it was cool. And I don't know, I feel like if I do a cover, I kind of want a really good reason, and that's a great reason because it's an important song about climate change, and we're living in in a time where we need to support songs like that, like being written, but then also looking back and seeing, well, these dudes did it like 40 years ago.
They were already thinking about these problems.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's also like an interesting differentiation between like predominantly consumers of music and like producers of music as well, as like those sort of different reasons for doing those things.
Yeah.
And how we're actually sort of reacting to them.
Yeah.
It's like an interesting...
It's an interesting dynamic. I think you can't get lost when as a creative person and creating music. It's very easy to try and write for other people and try and write for your audience, and I don't think much good ever comes of that.
Yeah.
You really got to write for what you really dig in yourself, and then hope that other people will dig it, and the right kind of people will.
As much as it is reciprocatory, that can't be like dependent.
No, exactly. Because there's always going to be people that don't like your shit. You can't please everyone. Like, you just got to write what you dig, and then and then hopefully some other people. It's like being a person. Like, it's like the friends you make.
Yeah.
If you just be yourself and be genuine, there'll be people who latch onto that and become friends with you. You don't try and be cool so that you like it's such high school shit.
You're doing it wrong.
I found that, especially in creative fields, like I remember when we first started off, I was like, I need to make it so it's like this, and then people like it. Or if you just do everything, hey, you like it.
Yeah.
Like, if you were planning on doing a design, if you were planning on doing a t-shirt, if you were planning on doing a gig, would you go and do that thing?
Yeah.
And if you wouldn't, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
You're like, if you're not going to represent something with your full integrity, like,
exactly.
what's the point of doing it? So be like, if you're not going to go see this musician yourself, would you work with them?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, exactly. You got to think about, because everyone's different. Everyone's had a different upbringing and likes different things and feels for different things. And so you can never really properly compare things because everyone's different, Like,
oh no.
I mean, you can in a way, but it's so kind
like
of...
Like a
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that's been a really good chat, actually. I think we'll wind it up there. Thank you again for coming.
Sick. No worries.
Once again,
thank you for having
full
me.
finish.
Yeah, that was me.
Obviously, I don't know when or where this is going out.
Yeah.
But we'll be linking your stuff in there.
Sick. Yeah.
Arjuna Oakes. Go see him. We'll be playing in Wellington sometime soon, regardless of when this is going out. Always playing sometime
Should we flag
soon.
a gig that's already been when we release it?
Oh, yeah.
When do you reckon you'll release?
Yeah, so Tour of Bombora coming.
January release.
Yeah.
Thanks again to Kereru for providing us with the goods.
Tasty shit, man.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
But thank you very much. Cheers for tuning in. This is the VMorg Bedroom Series, and this was Arjuna Oakes. Thank you. That got nice and comfortable after the first question.
Yeah.
The classic, oh fuck, we didn't interview everyone, don't look at the cameras. And I just realised halfway through, I was like, we've asked one question, we've just been talking for ages. Mate,